Hi, this is Sarah Riley, and this is my presentation on my cultural background and socializing agents. So, the first and most important, I think, is family. Family is the beginning of community. I feel like my family background is where I get most of my personal culture, and then now that I have a family of my own, where I base a lot of our decisions on what affects our culture, on what could be best for my family. I come from a really large family. Um, we have four children of our own. We also have a very international family. I have several siblings that have married people from other countries, and so our family's diverse in that way. And then we've also personally adopted international college students who just bring a lot to our own family. Education, I think education, other than family, is probably one of the most influential things in my life. And as far as my culture, it's something that I value. It's kind of a cornerstone in our personal family culture. My husband and I both have advanced degrees. I'm working on a master's degree, and he has a PhD. I think that education is one of the best ways to expand culture, and one of the easiest ways to shape culture. As far as church and spirituality, I think for me personally, being raised in a very religious household kind of shifted my own personal culture in the opposite direction. I don't really consider myself a religious or spiritual person. That's why I chose this picture, because for me, religion and spirituality look a lot like a wide open space. I also feel like because of how my own personal culture of being in a very religious environment, I've tried to lighten those influences in my own children's life. As far as community, we're at a point where we've kind of chosen a community. We've moved away from a small town back to the city because we wanted an urban, more walkable lifestyle. We wanted something that was really culturally vibrant. We wanted to be where people had the same artistic and aesthetic ideals that we do. So I think that can bring us back to our neighborhood. We chose to move back to the neighborhood where my husband grew up. It's walkable. It's a historic neighborhood. It does represent in some ways some social status. Very urban. It's close to high quality public schools. So that's a decision that we chose, in a way. I think that now, like, our own decisions are informing our current culture. And I think it's the same way with peer group. I think that peer group is one of those cultural things that it's not always chosen for you. I think there's a brief time in your life where you get to choose your peer group, but for the most part, it comes from the people that you work with or the people that you're in school with. I think that now that we are no longer in school, a lot of our peer group is dictated by our children's school. And then again, the areas where we choose to live. The arts are something that's very important to my personal culture. I teach art. It's a very important part of our life. I make an effort to. We also have the social status to go and the ability to go see works of art, to travel. We enjoy live music. We've taken our kids to live music events. We also have taken them to art events. Because of my work, they're able to go to gallery openings and shows. And that's something that's very important to me, and that I that I see being a part of my culture for the rest of my life. In terms of print media, I think it's interesting. My personal culture, I was raised, I included at a time when you could still read print media. I remember, as a young child and even into early adolescence, reading the newspaper, reading print media. I had a subscription to Rolling Stone all throughout high school and college. Now I use social media, Twitter, and podcasts to consume those same types of media. So I think that's different than another generation that may just consume those that had never actually consumed them in the print form. I also continue to still diligently read a lot of books in print form. As far as electronic media, specifically in regards to the internet, I'm kind of caught in between being in Gen X and Gen Y, kind of right on the cusp there. And I think the difference between my culture and what I've noticed with my children is that when it comes to the internet, I use it as a tool, but I'm still very skeptical of the resources, where I see my children being much more inclined to believe whatever they see. Their culture doesn't really differentiate between what is on the internet and what comes from a reputable source, where I see the culture with someone like my parents who don't believe anything that is on the internet. So I think I'm kind of in between there. And the same with technology. I feel like technology is something that I use as a part of my life to enhance my life. It's a part of my culture. Whereas the generation directly younger than me that my siblings and my children are in, technology informs their life in a different way. And they don't quite have all of those analog skills, like being able to navigate a city map or, I don't know, other things like that without the technology. Sports are a huge part of our life. Like I said, our children are very involved in different activities. We live in Kansas, so we're huge. Basketball is a huge part of our culture. Growing up, everybody does rock chalk. I was a swimmer. It's a very individual sport. My husband played soccer. Like I said, we foster athletes, so we've gotten to know a lot of international and cultural things through sport. So sport's a big part of our lives, and I can see it continuing to be in the future. And then as far as workplace goes, I think, it's interesting that I work in education. So something that I value. Also, I work in a very culturally diverse school. That's one thing I really like about it. That's one of the reasons why I chose to work there. It's very urban, has a great community sense, family vibe. So, so I hope that helps you get to know me and my culture and a little bit better. Thanks.